Guten Morgen, Deutschland. Hi, guys. HUMANIMAL Heroes here. My name is Sam. I am from Australia, and today I am honored to be welcomed to this podcast. I am
Wow,
a yeah.
that was a great introduction, man. Didn't
Thank you.
expect the German Guten Morgen.
Dankeschön.
Bitteschön, bitteschön.
Bitteschön.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. As a fellow friend, as a follower of this podcast, I am very honored to be here to be a part of this podcast today.
Oh,
And
thank you, mate. I'm
yeah,
honored too. You are my first international guest on my podcast.
I know. I feel
So
very special. There's a lot of
I'm
pressure on
very
me.
no pressure. I'm excited, thrilled, and we've been friends like 6 years.
Man, I
I think
think was it
2016.
2016?
Yes, the
First
first
half
time
of
we met.
2016. Yes.
And I think you still don't know how the hell I got to know you, right?
It was a surprise that I never have ever experienced in my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Sam, thank you for being on this podcast show. And to my listeners in Australia, I thought, why limit it to Germany? I mean, since 2016, I've become more international, I think, because of you guys, because the time during the study abroad program in Brisbane.
Yes.
So I thought, make the podcast for the whole people in the world.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, because
yeah.
the podcast, the aim, the intention is to make people talk on this show about their life, about the struggles, challenges, and successes, and also fails.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
way to put it. I like that.
Yeah. And I thought you have a really interesting story. And
Yes.
would you please tell the people in Germany and the other listeners, who is Sam? What does he do? And
Yes.
yeah.
Of course. First and foremost, my name is Sam. Well, it's a nickname to begin with. It's not really Sam, but
It's way
it's
easier,
just, it makes things a lot easier for everyone.
Yeah.
I am originally from Turkey. I was born there. I have moved here with my family when I was 12 years old in 2008, May of 2008. I remember the exact date. It was like 19th of May, I think. Yeah. And I've been here ever since. And it's obviously moving not just a city or a country, but continents is
Yeah, far away. Oh my goodness,
very
it
far.
took like a day to come to Brisbane.
It's a good day of flying. It's a completely different experience, and I have flown to other places. I mean, not before when I was a kid, but in my days, I've flown to all over the place. And I think this flight itself is something else. I like as a kid. It is something that you never forget. And then like the idea of overseas for me as a kid was, you watch all these Hollywood American shows and movies, and you just imagine white picket fence dogs and parks and just flat houses. And the first thing we landed at Singapore. It wasn't not a direct flight. There's not a direct flight doesn't exist from Turkey to Australia
Because
So,
it's so, I'm
it
sorry,
is.
fucking far away.
It's very far. Traveling from one end of the world to the other. We had a stopover in Singapore, and we landed at Singapore, and the country is very humid. I remember when we first landed, I'm sweating my ass off, just standing where I am.
Yeah. I was in Singapore too. I had a stopover to like for 2 or 3 days, and as you said,
Oh
it was
yes,
really humid, warm, and
tropical weather. It's a beautiful place. I love Singapore. I actually would love to go there again.
yeah, it's great. It's really great.
It's a really nice, like a city state kind of thing, where the country you can drive from one end of the country to the other in a half an hour. It's
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
yeah, it's very clean, and I've
Oh,
never
so
seen
clean.
something like that.
The laws and the regulation and the people are just incredible. I find it an incredible country. The only thing I've noticed later on was that they have a big housing crisis because it's so small.
Yes, because they are not allowed to expand like
Yeah, they don't have room.
randomly, because it's like Malaysia and the other countries around Singapore. so they have to like go down to earth. They have like
Exactly.
malls in the ground, so
Exactly.
it's crazy.
I remember talking to the locals. They said the exact same thing. We don't have enough space, so now we're just going under. We have basement floors for people to live in, which I thought was insane. I don't know how they do that. But yeah, no, that was I was 12 years old going there, and growing up in Turkey, you do learn the English language as a basic. What is your name? How old are you? And
Yes,
that sort of thing.
that would be my first question. I mean, how were the first days, weeks, months in a country you've never been before? And as you said, like English, very, very simple English phrases like, how are you? My name is.
Yes.
And I think it was challenging, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, I like the English language. I always had an interest to it when I was growing up. Thanks to my dad, he was always very supportive of that. We never obviously planned. It wasn't the whole Australian trip was not really a planned thing anyway. So it just kind of happened within a year or two. And when we landed to Brisbane, um, we were greeted by this family who have sponsored us.
Ah,
We've been
okay.
staying with them for I think like a year or two. We had a rental property literally just across them. They've kind of helped us settle in a way, and like the first thing that I remember when we landed, like literally a few days later, I just signed up to school straight away, and it was grade 7. So I went to the school for the first time, literally within a week.
Wow.
I know,
That was
yeah.
I cannot imagine how stressful that is. I mean, you're like a kid, not even a
Yes,
teenager, like 12 years old.
yes.
How was it like? I think they were sportive, right? I mean,
They were very supportive. I actually feel rather lucky enough for that as well. Stepping into a class like that, grade 7, it was really wholesome. It was not what I had imagined, obviously. It was very different. And, I remember taking a seat in my seat, and there's all these strange people around me, you know, and they talk differently, they act differently. The teacher as well was obviously growing up from a different, country, very, very different. um, when the teacher comes into class back home, we would stand up. Everybody would stand up to greet and respect. I remember the teacher stepping in for the first time. I am standing up on my own and looking around. I feel like a weirdo. Well, what's going on?
what
Um,
does he do?
yeah, and it's like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to do that. Or I don't know if everybody else is being disrespectful, or I don't know. So,
I mean, I can remember in Germany back, there was one teacher, rest in peace, Mr. Schmidtke, and we had to stand up after he entered the class.
yes.
But the other teachers, no, it was like we were sitting and
Mm,
like said Guten Morgen Klasse, and then
yes.
we were like Guten Morgen Frau or Herr, like Mr.
Yes.
Miss, but never
Yes.
stood up.
That I learned that the different way. Yeah, I learned that the hard way when I obviously as a initial thing. I noticed, okay, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to do this here, and it takes things like that to kind of learn. So I made things like that, and I'm like, okay, it's not meant to do. I can't do that here. Then okay, because then people are taking it like a strange thing. Like, oh, what is he doing? And the good thing about Australia is people here are very relaxed. So I never have been judged. I've never had been like people never laughed at anything that I did like that. You know what I mean? Never been made
Yeah,
fun of
yeah.
for those things. So I actually felt very welcome. it
Wow.
was it was very a very good learning experience. So it was very easy to assimilate with the Australian people, um, and I thank them for that. Even the teacher, I remember when I first entered the class, the first thing she ever did was allocate me with a fellow student and said, "Sam," and his name was Liam. I'm still friends with him. I don't necessarily see him or talk to him as much as I used to, but Liam was the one who had been allocated with me to kind of run me through the classroom, to run me through the school, be with me during breaks, kind of help me with the language stuff. And he's been there through thick and thin, and I really appreciate him for that because I don't think it just. I just can't imagine. Like, I put myself in that position, and would I have done the same? And probably have, but because it's interesting to have an international student stepping into the class, right? But
Yeah,
I feel very well. I feel very appreciative and very welcome for people to be so welcoming in that regard.
yeah. Shout out to Liam.
Yeah, shout out to Liam, my man.
That's the guy we met, right?
No, you've
We
never met him. No,
no.
no.
There was a one friend of yours.
Mm,
We met. I always forget his name.
Christian,
No, no, not Christian. The other guy. We were like once. We met
Carl.
once. I think Carl. Yeah,
Yeah,
Carl.
Carl. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He's a Filipino fellow. He's alright as well. Yeah, he's I met him in high school later on, about
Okay.
2 years in, I think. Um, anyway, yeah. First experiences was, I found that Australia was very tropical. People were very chill, very relaxed,
Very
and
chill.
I,
I've never seen
yeah.
people like
Oh
this. That
man.
was like, I mean, uh, it's kind of similar to Turkish or Middle Eastern people.
Nah, this is on like steroids.
um, but in Germany, me as myself, who was born and grow up with intercultural people like
Yes,
Arabic, Italian,
yes,
Russian. I mean, Cologne. I mean, it's really colorful, lots of different people.
yes.
But in Australia, I was like really German. I felt really German.
Yeah,
I thought, wow, the people are so chill. I have to chill too.
yeah. That's what the first when that's what the first internationals do when they come here, is they realize that people here are just so relaxed and lazy, and it's just easy going.
Yeah,
No, you don't get us. You don't. When you walk around the street, like, people here don't. You've seen it. People here don't wear shoes in, when they go shopping, or just when they're outside, they don't even wear shoes. They just be bare feet. And
yeah, yeah.
you see that for the first time, and you think, wow, they must be homeless. But reality is, they
Actually,
just don't, they can't give a fuck about what they're doing or what everyone's
yeah.
thinking. So
Wow, crazy. Every time I hear about Brisbane or Australia, I have flashbacks, really good flashbacks. And so many chill people, so many different people all over the world
yeah,
collected and
yes,
put into the pot in Australia again, you know? And the
yeah,
whole Asia is in Australia, and whole Europe, Africa, all the continents are represented in Australia. So it was a really cool experience for me too. I had the opportunity to work with international people, QT,
that's right, QT.
QT,
Um,
Queensland University of Technology.
it is a very, very multicultural country. Like you said, we have people from all over the world, and when I first stepped in, I never knew that. And then coming to know that I'm not the only one was was a warm feeling. Maybe because it made me feel like, okay, I'm not the only one. I'm not alone in this. People like me have been through this. People have been here where I stand, and it was a challenge where I'm looking at and I'm thinking, people have already done this. I can easily do this as well. And
Yeah, sure.
the
And
language. Yeah, go on.
you're very diligent and really hardworking guy, and it was really fun working with you too. We
Yes.
were in the same course, and
Yes.
we
Very
had to
lucky.
tell the people how we actually met. I mean, that was the
Yes.
one. the
Oh man.
would you like to tell the your side of the story?
Yeah, of course, sure.
Yeah,
So one day, out of the blue, I just received an email late at night on my student email address. It was from yourself, from your German school email, I think it was. I still have,
yeah.
I must still have, I just don't have the login anymore. I swear I have that email. I never
you
deleted
you did a
it.
screenshot.
I don't think I have. I think it's stuck back in my school email. I must have to retrieve that. You might have it. I don't know. But I just received an email randomly out of the blue saying in Turkish language, "Hey, my name is Altan Reis. I am, coming to Brisbane, Australia from, I think it was Aachen. Is that right?
Aachen, yeah, right.
Yeah." And you were like, "I'm studying the same courses as you. And I've noticed, like, as I was going through the student list, I saw your name, and it sounded quite Turkish, and I was just making sure that you are Turkish or not, because I'm coming over like next week.
Yeah,
you know?
it was like you, as you said, I was like on the how do you call it, online enrollment process. There were
Yes,
3 courses I had to take for my diploma, and
yes,
one of them was manufacturing and materials, EGB
that's right.
213.
Wow, you still
I still
remember it.
remember.
I
I
already
still
forgot, my
remember the
friend.
code. And I was scrolling down the list. I saw a lot of names, like English sounding names, Asian sounding names, different people, And then
Yeah.
I saw your name, Sadullah Kartaş. That's Turkish. I'm wondering where. I mean, is he from Germany? Maybe from Europe, or
That's a good, yeah,
does
yeah.
he do the same study abroad program as me? And later,
Turns out
turns
that I
out
live
you're a
here.
domestic student from Australia. I said, "Wow, cool." And then the first day we met, actually,
The
I
first day
can
you
remember.
landed, yes, I remember.
Yeah, February 2016, 6.5 years ago, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I still remember it. When I saw you in front of the casino by the
In
middle
front
square
of the
that we had
casino, not
in
in the
front
casino
in
place.
front of the casino. We had that massive square there, and I remember greeting you there
Yeah,
for the
it was
first
really
time.
great. Thank you. I will never forget it. I mean, you were really welcoming, and
Yeah.
I was really hungry, man. I mean, I came from Singapore. Everything was
Yeah.
spiced up, everything they put spice, and I mean, it was delicious, right?
Yeah.
But I
But you
was
know,
not really
your tongue
used
is
to.
not used to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I said I can remember like, hey brother, do you have anything like kebab, something which is really would fill my stomach, man. I'm really hungry. And it was really nice and kind. You take me to the how was it? In the mall. It was like in the mall, a small corner.
I honestly don't
And
even remember where I took you, to be honest with you.
yeah.
I don't remember what we went to eat, but I do remember that you were really tired and really hungry that day. And I remember we just had a quick feed, and then you had to go back to your home or wherever you were staying
Yeah, it was
to, rest up. Like
small
yeah,
hostel.
small host, yeah, with other students, right?
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
like for
yeah.
2 or 3 days until I had a permanent
Ah,
accommodation
that's
for the
right.
next few months.
Yeah.
And it was really quick, and I have to appreciate QT because they really helped me. I think the other international students too. They
Mm.
had like an airport pickup service.
Oh
They
wow, that's
sent
amazing.
people. Yeah, they sent people with the
Mm.
paper which says like QT international students.
Mm.
I went straight to the guy, and yeah, I don't know. It was a Polish guy, I think. He was living in. I mean, Australia is so international.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, he took us
The way
to
you were
the
staying.
accommodation. Yes,
Mm.
and after
Yeah.
that, QT offered they helped and supported international students to find accommodation. I
Yeah.
mean, normally people from other places
They
don't
don't
have
have that
any
facilities like that.
friends, families,
Mm.
and they need help, and they really helped us. So thank you, QT. Shout out to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm happy to hear that you've received the help that you needed. It's very important, coming from really far away, not knowing anything, and then those kinds of, even the little things, they really do count in a situation like this. Even just a stay or just pointing you in the right direction, they definitely do come in handy. So I'm glad that you received the help that you needed at that time, and I'm glad that I was a part of this journey with, to kind of help you in a
I
way
some
where you felt comfortable and
yeah.
welcome in this country and in this city.
I
Yeah.
somehow drag you to this
Nah.
because we didn't have any mutual friends. Not
Yeah.
as you said, out of the blue. Hey man, I'm Altan from Aachen. Your name is Turkish. I think we can like vibe on the same. How do you
Yeah.
say it? Like
The wave.
um, the wave, and yeah.
Yeah.
And you did show me around and
Yes.
talked about your life and the friends you are friends with, like Mohammed, Christian,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Carl. It was really
Yeah.
nice to know you guys. It was a really interesting time and excited. Always excited to hear about Brisbane and Australia in general.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, even those people that you just mentioned, one of them is, Pakistani, Australian, and the other one's Filipino. They're all different.
Yeah,
They all come from
all
different
different.
backgrounds.
So many different cultures. I was really I thought I were multicultural, but I was really like simple-minded European guy who was
Yeah.
overwhelmed with
All these
culture
different.
and um yeah, it was really good time.
Yeah. No, the good thing about, especially the good thing about multiculturalism is the food, man. Oh, you have
Yes.
all these outlets of different, on a Tuesday you can have a taco, on a Wednesday you can have an Indian, and on a Thursday you can have, I don't know, anything you
Eh,
want. There's German
yes.
there, there's
Yeah.
French there, Italian, Australian, everything
Yeah,
is
yeah.
out there. And it's just this beautiful disjointment and, recognition of everyone where everyone just comes together and they accept and they assimilate, and it's just a beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about multiculturalism, and it's why life is just have been so much easy for me to assimilate here as well.
Yeah.
I never felt like an outsider,
Wow, cool. I
yeah.
mean, it's a continent, it's a big country, it's an island
It's a
actually,
huge
huge.
island, a size of
Um,
Europe.
and a lot of different people. I really met a lot of interesting people. I met like twins who were half Pakistani, half Irish. I mean, your
Yeah,
friends.
that's right.
Uh,
Yes,
And
you met an half Aboriginal one as well, I believe. Isn't that right?
yes, Tugay abi, shout out to him if you're listening. Um, I met him just once. A guy. Um, okay, it was like this. It was dinner time. I was outside with a friend. He was also Turkish, and we were talking. And then a dude come up, and I assume he listened to us and asked us, "Hey guys, are you Turks?" I mean, and we said, "Yeah, we are Turks." And then with a thick Australian accent, tried to speak Turkish. It was really amazing to listen to him, and he was with his family, with his wife and kid. And I'm looking at him, and during his like he talks to us, hmm, something different. He's like, as I said, simple-minded European guy, as I were back then. um, he speaks Turkish with an Australian accent, but doesn't look like Turkish. I mean, what does it mean to look Turkish? I mean, there are different people, you know?
Yes,
And suddenly he says, "Yeah, my father moved from Turkey to Perth and met my Aboriginal mother."
that's
I,
incredible.
I was, what? Again, what? Your father moved to Turkey, met an Aboriginal person, and yeah, and he was smiling. Yeah, yeah. I'm half Turkish, half Aboriginal. I met a native Australian with Turkish
Blood in
background. I
the.
was, even now I cannot describe it. It was really great to get to know him. But the sad thing is, it was his like first week in Brisbane. You know,
Oh yes,
he just recently moved
Perth.
to Brisbane,
Mm.
and I didn't want to make them invite me to their home
Right.
because it was so.
For the record, everyone, Perth to Brisbane is like a 5 hour flight, just so you know. It's a very
Yes,
long flight.
it's really
It's like
from west
moving.
to east.
Yeah, it's completely like moving from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, that kind of feeling. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely like five
yeah.
hours flight. It was
Mm.
really interesting talking to him, and as I said, I didn't want to be rude, and yeah. But I'm following him on Facebook. Maybe I will send him this Spotify link. Maybe make him my next international guest on my
Yeah,
podcast.
certainly an interesting story, that one too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've actually never even met someone like that either, like a half Aboriginal. When you told me, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, really? Like,
yeah, it was really crazy. Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
I guess, comes back to the whole multiculturalism thing. People are just so like, mixed and welcoming and accepting. It's very different. I guess I don't know.
yeah,
I haven't really been to the rest of the world like that, but it's definitely something that I am proud of, and proud of to call myself an Australian as well. I remember becoming a citizen. I think it was like 4 or 5 years in, which would have
Mm.
been in like 2014. I think it was when I became a citizen. It was when I was 17 years old when I became
Yeah.
a citizen. It was a surreal experience, and the doors open as well. Like with the Australian passport, then I had the access to go anywhere I really wanted as well. Europe as a whole was nothing to me. I could just board a plane tomorrow, be there, stay for three
Mm.
months, and come back without a problem. And that also helped me to travel as well to destinations like that, where I went to
Mm.
London, and I visited Germany multiple times.
Yes.
um
We met actually.
yeah. um Beautiful, beautiful places, and to experience even more different cultures and even see different people, is something that I really do love and appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. It's something I will always recommend people go to down under, go there, and yeah, try to figure out, and yeah, try to get connected with people from different places, different cultures, and yeah, and get the real chill, because I've never experienced so many people who are really chill. I mean, I assume you have like daily struggles and
Of
you are
course,
stressed. I
of
mean,
course.
it's not like, I mean,
And
I
not
was
every
just
day
like,
is a yeah.
yeah, every day is not like, woohoo, yeah, cool day. I'm chilled. Everything is
Hmm.
fine. There are several problems too, I think. I mean,
Definitely, like every other country does.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like coming to a place like this, if you do ever decide or plan to make a trip here, honestly, you don't even need a plan. Just show up. That's all you need. Just show up
Yeah. Just show
and
up. Yeah.
just really take it all in.
Yeah, definitely. Just
um
chill out and take it all in.
yeah. And yeah, I'm sure you'll have a great time. The summers here are not they're very unforgiving, so maybe stay out of the sunshine when you come here for the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
It
That's
will
one of
burn
the,
you. You have
yeah.
no escape. Even if you put sunscreen on, even if you're under shade, you will get sunburned. So do maybe be cautious of that, because Australia, I believe, is the first country in the world, the highest cases of skin cancer. So
Oh
that's
my
something
goodness.
to be mindful of.
Yeah.
um
This country is amazing. I mean, the 10 deadliest animals are living there, and the the climate can kill you. Everything, anything can kill you. No.
there is a lot of things that can kill you, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
The animals itself, like, yeah, you might see a snake here and there, it's your typical brown snake, which are
Typical
harmless.
brown steak.
We call them our pets. That's like cat and dogs.
I just saw yesterday a documentary about the inland taipan and the brown snake.
Oh,
Oh
they are
my
deadly.
goodness.
Don't. No, no, no. That is, you don't mess with those.
No, no. I mean, people either they step on it without, how do they say it? They didn't see them,
Hmm.
or they want to take a selfie. That's why I get killed.
Man, you don't want to take a selfie with the taipans, man.
No,
You
I don't
stay,
need.
you run
Don't.
away the
Yeah,
opposite
yeah.
direction. But I believe the taipans are not. They don't necessarily live around like suburban areas. They're more like inwards where the deserts are. So
Mm,
they're like in regional areas. So as long as you are careful in those areas, like even like crocs, the crocodiles are in like the northern coastal line of Australia. You won't see a
mm.
crocodile here in Brisbane or in Sydney or in Melbourne. It You just have to be mindful of where you are, and
Yeah, yeah,
mindful of where that animal might be.
yeah.
Yeah.
And don't touch it. First rule:
Yes.
don't
Do
touch it.
not touch. Do not look for longer than 10 seconds and run the opposite direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Sam, you have like quite interesting story. As you said in the beginning, you moved from Turkey to Brisbane. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, your father moved to Brisbane first, right, to figure
That's
it
right.
out and lay
Hmm.
the first, let's say, bricks for the company and the life, literally and figuratively speaking, right?
Yes. So it was my father who first came here under that same sponsor kind of thing, where my dad's an engineer, and he had built this machine for this one customer who had supported him and sponsored him to come over and to kind of supervise and make sure that the machine that he's built is running all right in the meantime.
Hmm.
He stayed here for a good year. After that,
Okay.
he came back home to Turkey, and then it was, I believe, it was me and my mum who said, "Why don't we just go there? Just why not?" It
Okay.
was a
It was a
choice.
common
Hmm.
aim.
It
So
was a
it was
common.
not
It
like
was like when he came back, he was like, "No, I'm all right. Like we don't need to go back." The thing is, my dad, when he would go to these trips and he would stay there for a year and he come back and he brings all these gifts and he talks about Australia.
mm.
Me as a kid, I'm dreaming about this place. I'm like, oh my god! And he brings these videotapes that look incredible, like nothing I've ever seen before. These houses, these the rivers, the bridges, the parks, and everything that like the light shows, the water shows. You see all these things, and it's like it looks like a dream. It looks like an incredible place, and in Turkey studying at the time, we also had like these very serious, very important exams. You're doing grade 6, 7, and 8 to determine literally where your life is going, your high school and
Yeah.
your university life. So, me as a 11, 12-year-old kid, I'm like, I even at the time, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to, like, and
you're
I'm,
you're
I,
fed up at 11, 12 years old. Oh
yeah,
my
man, I'm
goodness.
like seeing these exams. I'm like, I really don't want to do these. And I saw Australia, and I'm looking at this place. It looks like this magical place, and it was literally my escapism. I'm like, I can escape there. I don't have to do these exams.
You have this dramatic. I mean, you did some drama in class. Did you have any? I can remember showing me a
Yes, I
video
did. I did.
as you talked about the magical country of Down Under. I can
Yes.
imagine you like stars in the eyes.
Oh
I
man,
have to escape. It was like
it
I
was
had
an
the thing on
escape. It
the.
was a dream. I would dream about it. I
Yeah.
would dream about walking a dog in front of my house. You know what I mean?
That's the
And
dream.
yeah, and imagining a pool in the backyard, having different people that I call friends, and it was just like a surreal thing. And like I said in the beginning, it was like you watch these American Hollywood shows and movies, and that's what you see.
Yeah.
So I think of Australia as that. I'm like seeing that. I'm thinking that is an incredible place. I want to experience that. As a kid, you dream about this, and it's like, and the more that my dad talked about it, the more that he showed us photos and videos, and then he'll bring all these gifts from there. The more I was more attracted to the idea of going there. I had no hesitation. I said, my friends back home, like, fuck, I can't, I don't, I could not care. I gotta go. I'll
But
see y'all
yeah.
later.
See you later, alligator.
Yeah,
um, but we met some of your friends as we were in Turkey
that's right.
2017, and you are
Hmm.
still in contact with them,
I
right?
am still in contact with them, and they are beautiful people. I love them. They are like my brothers.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, we have a really good connection. That's a beautiful thing about my friends back home as well. We've never lost touch.
Well, that's
Um,
really cool. I had a
yeah.
friend last episode, like I know him like since 1997.
Wow.
So it's really one of the
That's like
oldest
that's like
friendships.
baby
Yeah.
friend, right?
And yeah, so yeah, cool. So you were excited, thrilled to go down under,
I was ready
and
to go.
yeah, I mean, more eager than your family. I can imagine
Oh
the
yes.
little Sam. Okay, let's
Oh
go.
man.
Woohoo!
Oh man, I had so many dreams. Having all these different cool toys and having a pet and having a pool in the backyard and going to these different people, seeing the school, like the American schools with the lockers, and that's what you
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah.
We don't have those, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have lockers.
Oh,
It was not like an American school after all, but it was something else that I had never even imagined. It was surreal
yeah.
when I first saw it as well. And
But that one decision made this podcast possible. Crazy,
that's
right?
true. I met you through it. We
Yeah.
wouldn't have met.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Wow, cool. And how, I mean, your father is an engineer and you as well. You are an
that's right.
incredible engineer, you both guys. I mean,
Thank you,
you
my friend.
show, sometimes you show me some sketches, some the software you work with and the
Yes.
editing, the drawing, the designs, everything. I say, wow, how amazing it is. Would you please tell people what are you actually doing in the company, in the manufacturing
Yes.
company?
Yes, of course. So I have graduated from QUT, I think it was 2018, if I remember, 2018, 2019. Would have been 2018, as a mechanical engineer with an honors degree. And that's what I have always wanted to do. My dad is also a mechanical engineer, and I have always grown up around this sort of field because my dad and my uncle would have this factory back home as well, where they dealt with equipment and machines, and it was specifically about food equipment, mainly focused on bakeries. And I grew up holding a screwdriver in my hand. I had as a
Little Sam with the screwdriver in the
oh
hand.
man,
Yeah.
I remember having my first, the PlayStation, the gray box one, the massive gray
Yeah,
box, like a
yeah, yeah,
brick.
yeah.
I
Oh my
remember
goodness.
my dad
Yeah.
buying that for me when I was 5 because I was to be a very naughty boy. So he kind
What
of sit
was
me
your
down.
first game? What was your first game on PlayStation?
I believe it was Looney Tunes. It was a
Looney
Looney
Tunes.
Tunes game.
Okay.
It must have been, yeah, with Bugs Bunny.
Okay, cool. I
Yeah,
think mine was Tekken 3.
Tekken 3. Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Really
straight up.
violent. uh,
Yeah.
so
Um.
yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, as I was saying, something would go wrong with that PlayStation, and my dad and I would grab our soldering equipment. We fixed the thing. Like we would actually work with electrical things, like the electrical. We would take out the electrical boards out of the PlayStation, find the problem, fix it, do a bit of soldering, put it back, and make it work. It was
Wow.
like a yeah. And then as a kid, I'm seeing this, and I'm like, I can make a career out of this,
Wow.
and it's something I enjoy.
So actually you were an engineer back then.
Oh yeah, I definitely growing up had this engineering mindset. Growing up around my dad who was also doing this, and when you're around that environment like that, you can't help but be inspired.
Yeah, yeah. And so your dad didn't really need to convince you you have to become mechanical engineer to help me and support me in the
Absolutely
company.
not. Absolutely not, man. When we moved here, because life is, I guess, so much easier here than back home. My dad didn't even tell me to become anything. He just said, just become a tradie, just do trades. You become
Mm,
a
mm.
just plumber, bloody electrical guy. You become a sparky, do something easy. They make a lot of money here. It's a good
Yeah.
standard of living. People get paid for what they deserve here.
It's
So
really like practical stuff. Back
very
here in
hands on.
Germany, it was lots of theoretical. Back at QT, I realized lots of things are focused on working with things, especially in engineering, like materials and manufacturing. We had like the gearbox project, when you
Yes.
remember,
Yes, I
and
remember the
we
Gearbox
like
project.
assembled it. Yeah, it was really great. And Australia in general, if you can do anything with your hands, like it can be something with like woods, metals, electricity, anything you can put things together, and yeah, you can make a career out of it.
Exactly. It's a very popular trade here, and that's kind of why my dad told me to, like, he said you don't have to go to uni, you don't have to become an engineer, you don't have to do any of this. I remember graduating from middle school, and you graduate from middle school, and these kids going up on stage, making a little thing like, oh, I want to become this, I want to become a doctor, I want to become, you know, um still being such a foreigner here, you go up on that stage and you see other kids. I go up on stage and say I want to be an engineer, and then you see other kids going up and they're saying I want to be a garbage man, I want to be a sparky, I want to like do all these things that you wouldn't normally consider people
Yeah.
going forward for.
What is
And
a Sparky? A
an
Sparky?
electrical guy, electrical.
A
It's yeah, us Aussies were
because of
so lazy that it's just easier to say sparky than to
okay,
say
okay.
electrician.
Yeah.
It's a little
Okay.
little Aussie of me.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, yeah, cool. I mean, it's really nice to work with things like that. I mean, in my surroundings, my family. I mean, I'm myself. I am actually material engineer, but
Yes.
they were not really. You have to become a material engineer, something
Yeah.
like this. No, just do what you like, and yeah.
It's very
And what
important
we, yeah,
that that support that you get. It's very important as a child and as a teenager, because because when you're pursuing something that you love doing, it's not all about money, or it's not all about a status or anything like that. It's about finding what you love, because once you love what you're doing, that in turn will give you what the others are telling you to go for anyway. The money or the status that will come to you because
yeah,
you
that will
enjoy it
come to
so
you. Yeah,
much, because you love pursuing. You're not going to drop. If you hate something you don't enjoy doing, it's there's that's not how is that going to bring you any happiness? How is that going to bring you any status or money? It's just going to be miserable staying
yeah,
doing something that you don't even like doing. So it's very important that these kids and these teenagers, that they're given the kind of support that they need when they want to do something. And that's what I saw when I was a kid here. These kids going up and saying, I want to become this, I want to become that. And it's for us with a different background, it's different. So I can't help but as a kid, like judge me, like, why do you want to become a garbage man? You know what I mean? It's
yeah. I
different,
mean,
right?
yeah, it's
So,
different. Yeah,
but and then later on, I understand. I learned. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's why. That's why.
yeah,
And that's the kind of the beauty of thing here. Like back home, you wouldn't see kids saying that. They
yeah.
all want to be
Unfortunately, yeah,
a white collar job, engineer, doctor, pilot, high, just aiming really high with those white collar jobs. I get that because things back home are different, but I like the beauty of that here, though.
yeah. I met your family, and do you think your family would um, act like that? Would they say you have to do this, you have to do that? I mean,
No,
I j-
my dad
it's
told
just the
me.
friends and okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
my dad told me you don't have to. He just said become anything you want. I don't care. He never pushed me. I chose to be an engineer, and even when I was choosing to become an engineer here, he said you don't have to be a mechanical engineer. Why don't you do electrical? You don't have to do
Hmm.
what I've done. You can do something different. And I
Yeah.
actually have tried. I tried to do electrical. I was good at it, but I didn't enjoy doing it, so I dropped it.
Yeah.
Same with civil. It was, civil is just, it's great. It's buildings and roadworks and structural stuff. But it was just boring because it was just kind of standing still, and I just have to make it stand. The good thing I liked about
It's
mechanical was it
boring.
was,
You're
yeah,
saying
it's
it's
boring. It's just
boring.
standing there. Yeah, it's a good beam. Um, and whereas mechanical was dynamic, it was moving, it was
Yeah.
exciting, it was reeling me in, and it was something that I had already been doing anyway. So
Yeah.
stepping into it, I felt so comfortable.
Yeah.
I
I'm
enjoyed doing my
somehow
maths.
landed in.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Uh, I'm kind of landed in civil engineering. You're telling me my job is boring?
I didn't enjoy it. If you enjoy it, that's great for you, my
Nah,
friend.
it's more like data bank and like IT and
Oh
lots
yeah.
of condition evaluation of how do you call it, wastewater systems, sewerage.
Yes.
We
Sewage,
have
yep.
to check out if they are working or not, like from the
Mm-hmm.
material side of view, technical and process side of view.
Yeah, man, you gotta make sure those pipes are good. Otherwise,
Yeah,
if they
sure.
start bursting, you got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
problems.
Last year it was really terrible. There were a really big flood last year,
Yes, I remember
and
this.
a lot of places, especially
Mm,
smaller places with regional small wastewater transport systems, they really, yeah, like they
mm.
drowned. Small places drowned.
I've seen the disaster there. Yeah, lots of people died and injured, and I remember that.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
was
remember
really
seeing that
crazy.
news. Yeah.
Yeah,
We get a lot of floods here too.
really, in Brisbane?
Yeah, we had one recently. Yeah, we had in southern southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales. We had some big floods, man.
Oh my
Especially like
goodness.
northern New South Wales, where Lismore, I remember seeing in the news, they had floods going up to the electrical poles,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the way up to the electrical poles. It was
Wow,
underwater completely. It was really bad.
wow. Didn't
Luckily,
know
like,
that.
yeah, luckily some part like southeast Queensland, some parts were flooded, some not. So we were the lucky ones where we were not affected by it at all. But man, even that night when it was flooding, I remember driving from one place to the other late at night, doing a bit of late hour work shift. It was literally flooding, and I had trouble going back home, like driving
Oh
back
my
home.
goodness! Wow.
Yeah, I was like stuck. I when I went, there was nothing, and then as I was going back, there was a lot, and I had to like escape. At one point, I even thought about like staying in a hotel and just sleep the night somewhere
Yeah.
because I literally could not go anywhere. It was I luckily somehow found one way out of there, and
Yeah.
that's how I got back home like an hour late.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah, we get some bad floods here from time to time. It's the
Yeah.
fact that it's such a tropical area, I guess. And
Yeah, because somehow people would think about Australia is more like dry,
mm,
but Brisbane is more like tropical. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of
like
floods.
Queensland as a whole is very, very tropical. Very tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's humid. Not as humid as Singapore or anything, but it's humid. It's hot. Summers here can be a little miserable, like I said, but you can definitely enjoy the summers and just going to the beach. That's what people do. We have a lot of amazing, beautiful beaches all around the country that are famous for that.
Golden Coast.
Gold Coast, you go down
Yeah.
to Byron Bay. You can go down to Sydney Bondi Beach. There's
Yeah.
all anywhere, any coastal line, you're gonna have an amazing beach and an amazing time.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a really amazing place. The country, the cities, every place is amazing. I mean, maybe people who were born there, maybe they don't look at it like that, but
they don't.
uh,
Well, some do. Some. No, actually, some do really enjoy the beach. It's a very
yeah.
people here very. They love the beach. They love going fishing. Man, we have some amazing fish. You just go to the Pacific, straight out in the ocean, pull some.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it. It's like a shark. It's not a fish anymore. It's a straight. It's not a. It's bigger than me. And you just
Yeah.
pull it out of the water, and that's like you feed a whole family for a good week. It's, yeah.
um, yeah, I was on Fraser Island, one of the biggest
Yes.
islands of
Yes.
Australia, and it was really amazing. I did camping the first time, like very, very less electricity. No, like my smartphone was like dead, literally dead. I don't know if you
You
cannot.
flew over there as well, didn't you? You flew over there to that
Yeah,
island.
there was like very small plane. It was like
It's one of those boat planes, right?
boat planes, and it was
Yeah,
so shaky. I was really scared. I mean, I like flying, you know. I really like those Airbus 737 or from Qantas, all those big planes. But this small metal thing in the sky, I mean, I don't know, maybe 5 kilometers high. It's not really high.
yeah.
It
No,
does not fly that high.
it's close to the
It
ground.
was so shaky. And I think I see some rusty regions on the wing. As a material engineer, I screamed,
It's a nightmare.
"No,
Yeah, it's
that's rust. Rust is not good." Really cool experience, though.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, we were talking. How was the pandemic during like you are
Oh
self-employed
man,
people? Did it
yes.
really affect you? How was it? Could you please tell us?
As a business perspective, pandemic was a heaven for us. We actually did really well. The reason
Oh,
for that
okay.
was, like I said previously, we deal with food equipment, and suddenly what you had was people panic buying shit just anywhere off the shelf. People buying anything and everything. And
Yeah.
what happened in turn was these companies who are producers of these products, they there was so much demand that they needed more supply. So they had to
Wow.
increase their capacity, they had to increase their productivity, their automation, everything had to be double, tripled, quadrupled. And in return, we had these sales where, to meet the demand that they had, we had to supply them with these equipment to kind of get them going to those targets. That was something that we
Wow.
worked on with a few companies. And
Have you been able to keep up with the demand? I mean, if the whole country is just buying, buying. uh,
Um, to an extent, yes, and to an extent, no. We like there was so much demand, like you said, like sometimes we couldn't even keep up with them. Where we had to, because we were so busy, we couldn't even return to some customers and say, look, wait, we're just so much under pressure. I don't think
Yeah.
we can help you. You're gonna have to go
Wow.
to somebody else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So like business perspective, yes, it was good, I think. But looking overall at the whole thing, it was kind of miserable. The way that Australia has handled the pandemic, I think, was not that great. I think they could have handled it a
Really?
little differently. Yeah, like sure, they really helped with the number of cases we've had here. But like later on, it just became nothing. Like right now, everything's back to normal. You can board a flight. Don't care. Nobody cares anymore. And it's as if COVID has just disappeared. Like what happened to the one case that we've had where we had to lock down an entire city with a population of millions of people just for this one case that you found. And
Yeah.
fair enough, okay. I'm happy to go on a lockdown, but for a thing that has a very small death you know ratio, it's not a killing machine. And okay, sure, the elderly are definitely vulnerable and the sick are vulnerable. And
Yeah.
I get that. And I've had people, I know people who have died to this virus. And so I can, I guess, come out and say this. I say, I don't want to sound like a dickhead, but, why don't we just protect the vulnerable
Yeah.
and let everybody else kind of move on with their thing? Because what we've had here, for example, Melbourne, okay? Melbourne was
Mm.
the worst affected city in Australia and in the whole world. Melbourne is the most lockdown city in the world because of
Really?
COVID. Yes, you can look it up. Melbourne has been the most lockdown city in the entire world. And guess what happened to Melbourne, my friend? They've been literally locked down for a good 9 months. Or even I could even say a year. People there would know better. I'm not from there, but I've heard a lot of stories, and they're really ugly. You could barely get out of your own doorstep. You couldn't. There was so much restriction. There was
Wow.
so much, like, you couldn't go out, you couldn't go, sometimes even going shopping was a problem. um People protesting on the streets, police are out, there's riots going on, it was insane. And it's like, what are we doing here? Okay, so the idea is to slow down this virus. Okay, but how are we tackling this? I don't want to have a go at the government because obviously it's a thing that the government is experimenting for the first time as well. They don't know what they're doing. We
Yeah.
never had a pandemic like this in the modern times, so they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
And I thought as a island like country, they were like Australia was like more excluded. I
that's
mean, they
right.
had cases, but they really handled it well. That was my assumption. But you were saying Melbourne hit it really hard with the pandemic. So yeah, it's shocking. I mean, myself, I got infected by
Yes.
COVID. I mean, it was not nice as any other sicknesses and illnesses, but yeah, the vulnerable, that was really bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I feel for the most as well, because the vulnerable also, they didn't really, like, they tried to protect them,
Mm,
and at the end what happened was they just injected everyone with this vaccine.
yeah.
And they just kind of said, okay, now COVID's gone, guys, you can all do what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's like, so what that tells me is that everything that we've done the last year and a half, 2 years, is
just forgot.
is what we just forget about it. We just
Mm.
move on like nothing happened.
It
um
feels like here as well. Yeah, it's cool that is like is not that strict anymore.
yeah.
But I mean, the virus is still there. But I think, and the on the other hand, the media has so much
Oh
influence.
man, the media.
They make people crazy.
Yeah,
We
the
couldn't find
way the
fucking
media
toilet papers, man.
the way the media has portrayed the pandemic and the way they've pushed the whole scenario in this whole thing was outrageous. And I really do feel for the people who have been severely affected by this, pandemic and the lockdowns, like people who have lost their loved ones, people who died,
yeah, yeah,
people who lost their livelihood, who lost businesses, who've closed down their shop, lost their homes, and you
yeah,
know that's who I feel for here. You know, like what do you do about that? How do we compensate? How can you compensate these people for what happened? You know,
yeah. I think
it's
never. It's not able to compensate that.
I'll tell you this, like during the lockdowns, there was families. I've talked about Southeast Queensland and I talked about Northern New South Wales. These are borders that people drive through each and every single day. Thousands and thousands of people. Some like they live in Northern New South Wales and they have work in Southeast Queensland, or vice versa, right? So what ended up happening was some people were stuck over the other side of the border and they can't go back home.
Oh
And
my goodness. Yeah.
yeah, I remember seeing a kid, an actual kid, can't go back to their parents' house, or the parents can't go back to them because, oh, suddenly you can't go because you needed a signed and stamped permission from the chief health officer, which is okay. But where do we say enough? Like where is the line here? How far
Yeah.
are we
It's
going with
ridiculous.
this? How
Yeah.
far are we going with this? And
Yeah.
it's like another thing was like I remember crossing those borders myself. I crossed them too. There was a time where it was a bit more relaxed, and there was a time where it was really strict. You could
Yeah.
not, for the love of God, cross that border. You could not cross it. There was military there. There was
Oh
helicopters
my.
there. I'm not
Wow.
joking. Yeah. Everyone was there at the border, just checking, 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 and then if they don't like what you've got, or you don't have a signed, stamped paper that says Chief Health Officer has authorized you to cross that border under the given conditions, you could not cross that border, my friend. And if you tried, you would get a penalty of like $4,000 or more. It was it was like gamble. And
Yeah.
like the other side of the story is people who have died to the virus, they couldn't go to the you know to the to their loved ones' graves, to their ceremony to
Yeah.
bury
That was
them.
really, really messed up. I heard about that in several cases in several countries. There was a mutual friend of mine with other friend. I did a podcast show. Maybe you
Yes.
remember. We had a mutual friend, and he passed away on a traffic
Hmm.
accident. He was. It was like in right in the beginning of the pandemic, like first March 2020, and he was in Spain, and
Right.
his parents and his brothers couldn't go visit his graveyard.
That's just very sad, man. I don't know what
That's
to
really
say to that.
sad. That's really hard. I mean, people went crazy during those like 2 years,
Hmm.
and I hope people got smarter, but I don't really think so because human beings are stupid, man. As you
Yeah.
said, it just forgot about the strict rules, and yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy show, man.
Yeah, it's just like I said, like where do you draw the line with this? There needs to be some sort of compassionate grounds as well, where someone died, even like kids died, or
Yeah,
even people like who they didn't even die to COVID. It's just something not even relevant to COVID. They just had an accident or had a heart attack, and you
yeah,
can't even like. It's just it was a time where the country was seriously divided. It was divided. You can't go here,
mm.
you can't go there. I felt like Queensland as a state was its own country. New South Wales was its own country. Victoria was its own country. These were all separate. These states suddenly became their own countries, and the premiers of this state became the I guess the presidents of these so-called states. They were the
Oh
ones
my
calling the
goodness!
shots, not the prime minister.
It just waited for a war between the states.
Oh my god,
Just imagine Queensland versus New South Wales.
it was
Oh my
surreal.
goodness, it's
Like
really surreal. Yeah,
I saw it firsthand, crossing that border for work purposes. I went to New South Wales, northern New South Wales, and coming back to Queensland, driving, it was a nightmare. And there was the queue with all these people trying to cross. The line would go on for so long. It was a nightmare. It was an
yeah,
actual nightmare. And, Some people were lucky enough to cross, some people were not. And yes, okay, I understand that there is a pandemic going on. You need to be careful. You need to, listen to the health advice and follow the rules. But I find the rules were so strict and so bizarre to a point where you couldn't necessarily like relate to it and feel to
Yeah,
it. Like,
yeah,
and you can't help but feel for certain people who have really suffered with this division and with this, you can do this or you can't do that.
yeah. I hope the we as human beings learned a lot from the pandemic, but still don't know if we got smarter. But yeah, we hope the best. And yeah, Sam, it's been like 1 hour talk. It's always
Yes,
nice talking to you, man. I mean,
thank you.
that's not the last episode. I think we have to do this again
Of
with other
course,
stuff and other topics
there's so many
and
to talk
so
about.
many topics. Man. I mean, if we go back again to more fun side of Australia,
Yes,
as we said, like lots of different cultures.
yes,
You, my friend, are getting married, right?
that's right. I am in July, in the month of July. I've got a month left. Not even
You got
that.
month left. Okay, that
Yeah.
sounded not. Uh,
Oh man,
how do you feel?
I am very excited. There's a lot of pressure. It's not, man, when you go into this sort of the world where you're trying to put together a wedding. It's very stressful. It's
Yeah,
a lot. I never had imagined it would be like this. It's stressful. There's so many things to do, and on
yeah,
top of that, you're trying to build together a house. You're trying to do this A, B, C, D, and all together there's just a lot of weight. So it's very important. Like I try my best to kind of relax and try to stay calm in those stressful situations to kind
yeah,
of get ahead. But it's not easy. Like I definitely, I've talked to people who have gotten married, and they say the same thing. They it's very stressful. It's not an easy thing to do, and but I guess once you're on the other side of it, it's a lot more nice and
yeah.
easy and relaxed. I'm actually looking forward to the honeymoon. So.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So last time we spoke, is it now clear where your honeymoon is, or will be, or is it still a topic?
So we haven't yet booked anything. I've actually been looking very recently. We're looking to go to Switzerland and Italia for the honeymoon.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So that's kind of where we plan on going at this moment in time.
Yeah,
About a week or 2 weeks of a bit of travel and leisure.
yeah.
That's kind of what we
Quite
have in mind.
after the wedding, or
Yeah, right after the wedding.
right
Yeah,
after the wedding? Okay.
just go away, escape.
Escape the crazy and
Yes.
yeah,
Run into the sunset.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope we can catch up if you're in Switzerland.
Of course, I
I
would
mean,
love
it's
to.
a honeymoon. I mean, you have to talk with your rightful
My wife to
lady.
be.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to disturb you guys. I mean,
No, of course not. Your family, man.
oh, brother, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, brother. Do you have anything to tell the people in Germany or any other places? Yeah, anything they can catch from this podcast to say, "Wow, I didn't know that," or something valuable.
I guess I would say, try to take life easy. That's what I learned here. Life is not all about life struggles and this and that. It's also about enjoy the little things and make your life more worthwhile. The sun goes up every other morning. Sun's gonna come up tomorrow and the other day after that. Don't feel so fussed about the worldly problems. It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right, and try to enjoy everything. You know,
Wow, that's really nice and something people should consider in their lives.
definitely,
Definitely.
definitely.
Would you like to do the outro, my friend? You had really great doing the introduction,
Well,
so
Deutsch.
I would let you do the outro too.
Of course. Auf
Just take
Wiedersehen.
your time. So, again?
My ich sprechen kann Deutsch not very good.
but not bad, my friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, friends, that's it. The next episode, think it will be online next Thursday, and I can't wait for the feedback from my international followers and fans. I don't know if I can tell if they are my fans. I don't know, but I did this because I have some followers on Instagram. They seem to be interested in the things I do. I don't know. I don't want to be snobby about this, but
You can
yeah.
speak German, by the way. If you want to
Yeah,
address,
yeah.
I'm alright.
No. So Leute, das war's heute mal wieder und freue mich auf die nächste Folge. Auf Wiedersehen.
Sounds good. Auf
Yeah,
Wiedersehen,
sounds good,
everyone.
right? Oh, bye.
Bye. Have a great night.
Thank you, mate.
All right. Bye now.
Hey there, it's me, your podcast host from Humanimal Heroes, local heroes on the globe. If you don't want to miss any episode, then hit that follow button on Spotify, Google Podcast, Anchor.fm, and Amazon Music. Any interesting and inspiring story you'd like to tell people all over the world? No problem, friend. Just let me know on my Instagram or TikTok account, creative_humanimal, and be my guest. Until then, take care and see you soon. Peace out.